The first golf swing discussion I want to have is how it relates to the thoracic spine and rib cage. I often see that individuals come and see me in the physical therapy department for back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, dysfunctions, and I often see this old, incorrect postural idea that the ribs should stick up and out, I should pull my shoulders back, and that I should be in this military style posture. So the reason we don't want that, and especially as golfers you don't want that, is because when my ribs are up in the air, I get into an extended posture, which means that my back is flatter or more backward bent than it should be. If you look at the thoracic spine in a medical book, the middle of your spine is actually forward curved. When my middle spine is rounded forward slightly, I actually have my ribs down and in. So when my ribs are down and in, I have the availability to rotate and not compress my middle spine. So let's go through that a little bit mechanically. So as I've trained through the Postural Restoration Institute, which is a very good human performance, human biomechanics group, I've learned a lot about how the attachment of the diaphragm and ribs and spine interact. So if I want my body to rotate, which most of it happens around my hips and my thoracic spine, my rib cage part of my spine, I actually have to start in a more neutral position. Neutral for the middle spine is a little bit of curve, forward curve. When I do that, my ribs come down. Rotation at the rib cage is when the ribs are down on one side. Let's say when I rotate to the left, my ribs are down on the right and my ribs come up on the left. This is left rotation of the thoracic spine. As you can see, my rib cage is down on the right and it's up on the left. And in turn, if I want to come back to the middle, my ribs would be down. And as I rotate to the right, my left ribs would come down and my right ribs would come up. So as a left-handed golfer in my backswing, my right rib cage goes down as my left ribs go up. And as I go through my downswing, my left ribs come down. And as I go through my through swing, my left ribs stay down and my right rib cage comes up. This is really functionally what our rib cage should do when we reach as well. So as I reach towards you, my right ribs would come down, my left ribs would come up. So I think there are two reasons why people struggle with this rotation in their golf swing. One reason is just misinformation. Most people are taught that when they grip the golf club and they get into posture that they're supposed to be bending their knees and then keeping their spine very straight. Now this is not always instructed incorrectly, but it's often taken as an incorrect idea. If I don't allow my arms to fall down underneath me with my ribs coming down, I can't get into a good posture where it would be easy for me to just come down into impact with a hand that's traveling along my target line for a long period of time. If I want to be really consistent in impact, it would be similar to me getting into a forward flex position where I could toss a ball underneath me. If I tossed the ball around me, I would have to spend more time trying to time up the throw to get the ball to go straight. We don't want to make golf any harder than we can. I have 2 young children. I can't practice often. So I've kind of developed a way to set up to the ball with good neutral, forward curved, ribs down, thoracic spine to allow, and a good hand position to allow me to swing the golf club correctly. So let's go through this a little bit. I apologize, I'm left-handed. I know I play from the wrong side. For most of you that I've played with, that's what I've been told. But I'm going to show you a little bit from the side what we want to do through our rib cage. And I'm going to explain another big thing that's helped me by fitting my own golf clubs. I have my own bending machine to allow me to make this mechanics work properly. So as I set up to the ball, I've been working on getting my ribs down, and I think people need this more. Because when my ribs are down, I can lift one to rotate while the other stays down, and I can bring the other down while I open up the other side and rotate. So if I come into a good posture where my hands are hanging straight down, like I was going to toss a ball, and I grip the club, and I rotate back, my right rib cage went down, and my left rib cage went up. So you can see there's an angle of my shoulder. I've got this plane here across my shoulders. My right rib cage is down. I'm flexed at my trunk still, and that allows me to get my arms up in the air. So again, I'm flexed with my arms hanging naturally. I'm going to come up with the club, and I've rotated my thorax to the left by lifting my left ribs, keeping my right down. On the downswing, what we tend to see is people do this term in the Titus Performance Institute world and golf instructor world called early extension. Early extension means you're getting too tall too fast. So most people will get to the top of their backswing, and as they come down, they will stand up. I think this is caused partly by the improper idea of having to stand tall during a golf swing, and also by the inability for a lot of individuals with this poor idea of posture, that they are not even able to get their rib cage down to allow themselves to rotate. And I think thirdly, this actually comes down to a fitting issue where most people get fit with their golf clubs while they're not able to get their rib cage down and rotate properly and stay down on the golf ball. So let me make that example. I have a 6-iron that's about 3 degrees flat to standard. If you took it at 5'9", 160 pounds, I get fit statically to a standard length. Now the problem with this is if I had a club that's not this flat for me and getting into this posture, and I come up to the top and I want to stay down through the golf ball, but the club is more upright, I would have to stand up to flatten the club on the ground. This usually leads to a high handle and a lot more inconsistency because again, my arms are going around me, which I have to time, versus if I wanted to come down with good thoracic rib cage dynamics and a good underhand arm path, I would have to squeeze down my left rib cage and come through impact this way. If you see me, my left shoulder is lower, my left rib cage is down and in, and my club face is flat to the ground. I've actually had to work on this myself because I found it very difficult to have a club fitter fit me flat. Again, I go back to watching videos through Bradley Hughes talking about flatter angles and heavier clubs being better for consistent impact. And I come down to that and look at that as the body's ability to flex the thoracic spine, get the ribs down, will allow us to get into better impact positions more consistently. So I hope as a summary of this that I don't want to confuse people about posture, but if you go to a medical book, you'll see that the thoracic spine is not extended or backward bent. It is actually naturally flexed some, which would bring my rib cage down. Mechanically, to rotate, I have to have one side of my ribs go down while the other side comes up. This is called left rotation, when my right ribs go down and my left ribs go up. This allows me to get in a good shoulder plane during the golf swing. The second thing is, when to correct early extension, we sometimes have to work more on getting the arms underneath me, coming up with that good rib cage dynamics and mechanics where my right rib cage comes down, my left comes up for a left-handed golfer. And conversely, if you're right-handed, like most people are, as I go into my backswing, my left ribs have to go down as I load my right arm in the air and have a good shoulder tilt. And on the downswing, I have to learn to bring my both ribs down and drive up into my left leg as I bring my right ribs down like I was going to toss a ball. So as a left-handed individual again, I set up, I get into a good posture where my arms are underneath me, my ribs are down in neutral. This is not roundness in the spine. I'm not doing this with my body, but I have my ribs down. I bring my arms up, my right ribs are down. I squeeze down into the ground, bring my left ribs down, and as I hit the golf ball, my right leg straightens, but my left hand comes under and tosses the ball. At the end of my swing, I do stand up because that's normal. You need the extension at the end of the golf swing as you're driving up to hit the golf ball far. But most people will do this early extension because they are pushing and trying to stand up too quickly. That should happen after impact for your torso, and through impact you're actually extending your lead leg to hit the golf ball and get your legs clear of your arms. I hope this is helpful. If it is, this is my first true video blog on mechanics, so I apologize if it was a little bit random, but I do think that this is important. If you have any questions, comments, or things that can make this better, please respond to me. Thank you.